I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons, my Bibliospran, Bibliohowlers, and Bibliomancers. Thank you so much for supporting my hobby and passion even more. It means so much to me. Hi everyone, Petrik here. As you can probably notice, I'm doing something different here because I don't know what's the purpose of this video actually, other than it's for me to rant. So if you are on Instagram or on Twitter, you might have noticed from this background what I'm going to talk about today. So yes, today marks another return of Salty Petrik because I'm going to rant about changes in cover art and cover design mid-series. And yes, I am not happy about this. But before that, just a bit of a context first. I think some of you, or a lot of you maybe, if you're watching this, I think you know already that I am a fan of the Dandelion Dynasty. The first book, The Grace of Kings, and the second book, The Wall of Storms, are both in my list of favorite books of all time. And this month, I'm going to start reading the third book, The Veiled Throne. And since I received Speaking Bones this month, every time I thought about starting reading The Veiled Throne, I took a look at my collection of books and I'm just super annoyed. I'm just super pissed. So yeah, I thought I might as well make a video out of this because I need to vent, okay? I really need to vent. So here's the thing. Before this year, the Dandelion Dynasty has been in my TBR pile since 2017, and I own the books for The Grace of Kings and The Wall of Storms since 2018. So that's about 4 years ago. As you can probably notice, I own the US edition of The Grace of Kings and The Wall of Storms. But back then, the UK edition of The Grace of Kings and The Wall of Storms, published by Head of Zeus, had the same cover art as the US edition that I own today. But they did have different designs. So back then, it was just a matter of choosing which design I like more and which was more cheaper. And back then, I had access to this one, the US edition of The Grace of Kings and The Wall of Storms. And last year, after hearing that the UK edition will actually get the new cover art and the new cover design mid-series, so it won't match the first book and the second book anymore, I felt so relieved that I chose the US edition. But little did I know that apparently this would backfire on me, because now only the UK edition, the UK paperback edition of the new edition of the Dandelion Dynasty, and also the broken binding hardback edition of the Dandelion Dynasty, that will have a matching design, because this one we have been screwed if you're collecting this in physical copies. So now I'm going to show you first the cover art to The Grace of Kings, and this is the spine, remember. And the cover art is done by Sam Weber, which I always talk about on my channel because he's one of my favorite cover artists, and there is nothing wrong with this cover art, there's nothing wrong with this cover design. So now we move on to the second book. Again, there is nothing wrong with this one. It's the same spine, the same design for the spine, and also the same design for the cover art. And again, this one, the cover art is done by Sam Weber as well. Now we move on to the third book. I don't know if you noticed this, but there is something a bit different already from the third book. Let's take a look at the spine first. So this one, unlike the first and the second book, this one has a white font. The color is white, and over here we see the name Saga Press. Unlike the first and the second book, again, where there is no Saga Press written on here, and this one is written in gold, okay? But you know what? That is okay. I think as far as cover design goes, as far as changes goes, this one was still very much tolerable. And the cover art, as I said, this one is again done by Sam Weber, and it is one of my favorite cover arts of all time. But now, as we move on to the fourth book, this is where things get incredibly annoying. So first, let's take a look at the cover art. No, don't see at this first, because this is a travesty that I will talk about more soon. Okay, this cover art, there is a change in cover artist here. So this one, the cover art, is not done by Sam Weber anymore, but the cover art to Speaking Bones, the fourth and the final book in the Dandelion Dynasty, has the same type of cover art compared to the previous three books. And Ken Liu talked about this, even though he changed cover artists. I think this is because originally the Dandelion Dynasty was supposed to be a trilogy, and The Veiled Throne and Speaking Bones was supposed to be one book. But because the book got too big, it has to be divided into two books. So hence The Veiled Throne and Speaking Bones. So it is very likely that Sam Weber was contracted to do a trilogy, the cover art for a trilogy. So at the fourth book, they have to change cover artists. And you know what? As far as changes in cover artists, I think this one looks pretty similar in design. Even the design for the typography looks exactly the same as The Veiled Throne. But now, let's take a look at the spine. This is the spine to the Grace of Kings. This is the spine to the Wall of Storms. And this is the spine to the Veiled Throne. Again, as you can see, there is slight changes here. But now, look at this absolute horror. What the hell is this? This is so stupid. This is so dumb. There is absolutely no logic to make this design look this ugly. There is absolutely no logical reason why this design should happen, why these changes in design should happen. They switch the position of the author and the title, and also they put this cover art, this cover art on the spine here, and it just doesn't match at all. And also this looks green. What even is the point of this? I just don't see any logical reason why these changes in cover design should happen, unless of course the publisher actually want us readers to actually have mismatched copies, which they absolutely succeed. Seriously, tell me why. The Backstreet Boys want to know about this. Seriously, tell me why. This is so dumb. Ken Liu said in his newsletter about the cover art to the Speaking Bones that he purposely collaborate with the artist to make sure that the cover art, despite changes in cover artists, matches the previous 3 books as much as possible. But with this kind of spine design, this kind of changes, that kind of doesn't matter now. Cover artists and cover designers are human, I get that, and mistakes do happen, but I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is purely intentional. And you know who are humans too? We are. And we want satisfaction for spending our money. When we collect physical books, at least, well, from my perspective, I want my copies, I want my set to have a matching design. I never heard any readers who get satisfaction from, oh my god, look at this beautifully chaotic and mismatched copies. I love them. I have never heard that kind of thing. Never. When this kind of thing happened, you know, I actually don't want to spend my money on the publisher. If I could, I would just pay the author. At least the author will get my money, but not the publisher. Why should I? They don't even care about us readers. Why should I actually spend my money on them who don't care about us? I will always be grateful that Saga Press actually published these books, because this is one of my favorite series of all time. Now, even though I'm not done with this yet, but this is damn ugly. I have been waiting for years. To actually have a matching design for the Dandelion Dynasty, and I thought I was going to get it. But no, apparently not. And you know what? This is not the end. Now I'm going to show you the naked hardcover of the Dandelion Dynasty. Okay, this is the naked hardcover of the Grace of Kings. You can see the logo of Saga Press here, and this is the spine. And yeah, you can see red and black here. Okay, I'm going to put it here. Now I'm going to show you the naked hardcover for the Wall of Storms. So this is almost exactly the same, except that this doesn't have the logo of Saga Press, which I have no idea why they decided to remove, but okay, up to you. So now I'm going to show you the naked hardcover to the Veiled Throne. Again, this is similar to the Wall of Storms. And even this one, they actually got the gold lettering exactly correct. So again, I don't know why they decided to change the dust jacket white color for the lettering. I have no idea why. So now, let's take a look at the worst one. Again, this is Speaking Bones. It's all black. So yeah, there's no more red here. There's no logo here. Now, let's take a look at the spine, because the spine is by far the worst part, again, of the entire hardcover. See? Why? Why? And you know what's even worse about this? This, look at this. The naked hardcover, the spine design for this one is, if you switch the position of the author and the title, is exactly the correct, yes, it is exactly the correct spine for the dust jacket design. Now I'm going to show you. See? You see what I mean now? This design is exactly the same design if they actually switch the position of the author and the artist and put this over here. It is the same design as the dust jacket for the first and the second book. So again, there's just no purpose whatsoever other than to actually troll readers. I hate when this happens, okay? I really hate it. And recently, this happened to Ted Williams. The Last King of Osten art, the first book, The Witchwood Crown, the first book, Empire of Grass, both of them has cover art done by Michael Whelan, which is one of the best artists in the industry. But the cover art to the third book, Into the Narrow Dark, has been changed to something completely different from, well, the previous 2 books and the all the previous books in the Osten art saga. It's not even that the cover art itself is bad on its own, but it just doesn't match. If you want to change cover artist, the very least that you can do is actually choose a cover artist with a similar style to the previous cover art. And that is possible. That is actually possible to do, even though it is, well, kind of hard to actually replicate Michael Whelan, but you can get someone to actually do that is a bit more similar than the current one that we have for Into the Narrow Dark. And it is just such a shame, especially because Michael Whelan has been doing the cover art for all of the books in the Osten art saga by Ted Williams and also War for the Flowers, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Michael Whelan and Ted Williams kind of go together. So yeah, this is just such a shame. And it is actually possible. Here, I'm going to show you one last example before I actually close this video, which I don't think serve any purpose other than me venting. Let's talk about the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. Again, this cover art is done by Sam Weber, and I love this cover art. This cover art looks good, but the next cover art looks even better in my opinion. And this one is done by a different artist. Yeah, look, this actually matches the style of the Empire of Silence. Some people actually don't know that there is a change in cover artists. This is proof, as rare as it is, that a change in cover artist could actually work, sometimes for the better, like this one. Seriously, I'm going to show you now the cover art to the third and the fourth book. So the cover art to the first book is done by Sam Weber. The cover art to the second book and beyond, all of them are done by Kieran Yanner. And I think they all look super good. I think the cover art to the Sun Eater are some of the best that I've ever seen in science fiction and fantasy. Ta-da, look at that. And oh yeah, one more. This is for the Kingdoms of Death, the newest book. See? This looks amazing. This is proof that it is possible to actually change cover artists in the middle of a series and make it work. Sometimes even better, like this one. The cover art to the second book, in my opinion, this one is my favorite of the entire series so far. And even though I haven't read the series, yes, I own the entire series already because I love the cover art and the cover design. Look at them, they all match. So yeah, this could work. I'm sure there are many other examples where a cover design goes right or wrong. Most of the time, changes in cover art and cover design goes wrong. Like the one that I just showed you regarding, well, the Dandelion Dynasty and the Last King of Osten art. And it is just such a shame. Such a shame, really. I don't know the purpose of this video. Seriously, I don't even need an apology from Saga Press or the publisher. I just need them to do better. I own a lot of physical books. I cherish all of them. And you know what? It's not easy to get physical books here. And it is not cheap. I want maximum satisfaction from the money that I spent to get my physical books. And yeah, I didn't get it from the release of Speaking Bones. I was happy probably only for about 10 seconds and then I saw the spine and then my mood just dropped. So yeah, well, I guess that's it for this video, which again, I don't know why I made this video other than to vent. So thank you so much for watching me vent about this. But do tell me whether I'm exaggerating about this or not, or do you feel the same about me regarding having matching design for your physical books for a series? Because this is something that matters a lot to me, because when I want to display my physical books, after I read them, I want them to look as good as possible. So yeah, that's it for me today. Salty Petrik is going to say bye-bye now. As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.